everyone, and welcome to our last meeting. So today we're going to be doing a couple things. We're actually going to do the speeches first, if you guys are all right with that, just for our officer election for next year. So we're going to go ahead and start the meeting off with that. And then afterwards, we're going to be hearing from Wake Forest. We have some representatives from there, I think about 5, I was told. So that's very exciting. And then afterwards, we actually have a little surprise for you guys, a little something that you probably want to stick around to hear about. So that's just a little incentive to get you through the meeting. And then at the end, you guys can always ask Q&As. And then I think I will send out an email tomorrow, hopefully with the results of the election for the officers. And that'll be it. So I just sent a link. I'm going to send it again just for new members if they joined the meeting and didn't get the link originally. So that Google form is going to be what you're going to fill out. And then by the end of the night tonight, I will look at the results, and in an email tomorrow, along with the meeting recap from today, I will send everything out and let you know. All right. So first, why don't we hear from the pre-nursing club president, potentially, Cassidy Edwards. Are you here?
Yep.
Okay.
Hi. All right. I'll start. So hi, my name is Cassidy, and I am currently a sophomore majoring in human biology. I am running for the president of the nursing club position because I'm really passionate about the nursing career and hope to be a nurse myself one day. My dream was to become a travel nurse specializing in the ICU or the ER. I plan on graduating spring of next year and hope to start an accelerated BSN program soon after that. So right now, in next few months, I'm going to be applying for some ABSN programs. And right now I do work as a CNA in the nursing home, and that really kind of got me interested in the nursing career. And I hope to work as a CNA in a hospital this summer to get more of the hospital experience. I originally planned on applying to PA schools after graduation, but decided to become a nurse first to gain even more experience before possibly applying to PA school. So this fall, I hope to reach out to many nurses, nursing school admission counselors, and even PAs to get as many great resources and speakers to the members of this club as possible if I was elected. I'm also very passionate about the physician assistant career and believe both nurses and PAs are very extremely valuable professionals in the medical field and are equally as important. So I will be happy to share any experiences or tips that I may have about my reasoning between choosing nursing school before PA school and different volunteering and patient care experience options that I've done and know about. So thank you for listening to me and allowing me to run for this position. I am excited for the potential opportunity to further my interests in nursing by running this club.
Thank you very much, Cassidy. I thought that was a great speech. I just want to say that I think it will be good. There's a high potential that you'll be the president, just so you know, of the nursing side, just because you are the only one running. But I think it will be very valuable to our team, just because you do have background in both nursing and PA. So I think that's great.
Can we give her a round of applause really quick? Yay! That was incredible. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So next we're going to hear from Prechi. Is that how you pronounce it?
Hi, I'm Prati.
Okay.
Can you guys all hear me good? Yes? Okay, perfect. Hi, so I'm Prachi. I'm currently a sophomore in nutrition science with a minor in global health. And I'm a recent transfer from East Carolina University, where I previously was majoring in public health, where I discovered my passion for global health. And after joining NCSU, I've realized the multitude of opportunities and just so many different professors and advisors that I've been blessed with that have given me guidance. So even joining the pre-PA club was such a great opportunity for me. And I would love to run for the position specifically of vice president, because I know how important it is to have a great mentorship, especially during undergrad. And as we've seen throughout different PA students that have presented in the past, and even any students or any Zoom like virtual mentorships that you've attended, we can see that every single person has a strong mentor behind them, which is very important. But one thing that I'd like to emphasize is that being in the pre-PA club, we might all have the same goals and we might have the same guidance, but all of our journeys and all of our pathways are going to be extremely different. And having that connection and having that mentorship is very important. So one thing that I would specifically like to work on is finding clinical opportunities for all of us to be able to understand where we want to pursue our education, whether it be in emergency medicine or, as Cassidy said, attending nursing school and then getting her PA degree. As for me, I'd like to get a double master's degree following global health and PA school. So that means for me, I would be focusing on health safety prevention programs and specifically third world countries such as Haiti, India, and especially places that are underdeveloped. So I'd really like to focus on also just finding different colleges and programs that'll connect us better with their professors because each program is different and finding the perfect program is the goal essentially for all of us. So yeah, those are all the reasons I'd love to run for vice president and I hope you guys have fun voting.
That was great. We can give her a round of applause too.
Yay!
All right. And then lastly, we're going to hear from Ishani. Is that how you pronounce your name?
Yes.
Perfect.
So, hi, my name is Ishani. I'm a freshman majoring in applied nutrition, and I hope to go to PA school. I currently work as a medical assistant at a primary and urgent care, and that's honestly where I found my passion to become a physician assistant in the future. I work with my physician who does a lot of patient interaction, and I found that to be very inspiring. And as I joined the PA club meetings, I got to hear from a lot of admission counselors and students on their journeys, and that really inspired me. And I definitely want to run for the vice president position because I want to incorporate more clinical volunteering activities and opportunities in order for students to sort of get their foot inside of the career. And although I'm a freshman, I feel like I have picked up on a few great tips that I'd love to share with everyone. And I definitely think that that would be really helpful. I also plan on working at, in the future when I become a physician assistant, I want to go to underdeveloped countries and I want to help patients who don't have access to healthcare, and I definitely want to make an impact on them. So yeah, those are some of the reasons why I want to run for vice president. And yeah, if you have any questions, you can reach out to me.
All right. Great job. All right. So thank you to the three of you for your speeches. I thought they were really great. So A+, good job. The voting is now open. So please cast your votes whenever you're able to. And without further ado, we're going to hear from Wake Forest. So Lexi, I don't know if you want to start speaking, but you're welcome to go ahead.
Sure. Hey everyone. Can you guys all hear me? Yeah, okay, great. So my name is Lexi Talbert. I am an NC State grad. So I definitely wanted to be a part of this meeting because as a pre-PA student at NC State, definitely saw or was very interested. Oh, there's a lot of feedback. Oh no. Give me a second, guys. Is that any better? Yeah? Okay, taking it out and plugging it back in. The way to go, think and do. So yeah, I really loved my time at NC State and I am really thankful for it. I was a double major in biochemistry and human biology and then worked for a year before starting PA school, which was a really valuable year and I love it and I loved NC State. So I figured you guys would love to hear some more information about our school. When I was in the pre-PA club, we didn't have speakers from Wake Forest. And Wake Forest is number 7 in the nation for PA schools. So Woot woot. It's really great. So I think you guys should know about it. We have a couple other students here today, and I will have them introduce themselves after. We're going to share a little presentation, just a little bit about our school and a basic thing, and then open up the floor for questions, if that is good for you guys. If you guys have questions, just put them in the chat. I will try to moderate that. And then Victoria is going to share a little presentation. And then for Wake students, if like two of us could answer each question, that would be great. So Victoria, if you want to go ahead and do that, that would be awesome.
Yeah. Hey guys, my name is Victoria. Really excited to be here with y'all. We've gotten to do a couple presentations like this at several schools, like in Winston-Salem and in North Carolina. So thanks to Lexi for putting this together so that we could share this with you guys. So I'm going to share a PowerPoint. A lot of it is probably really basic stuff for people who maybe don't know a lot about what being a PA is or about the process to applying to PA school. I'll try to quickly go through that because I think a lot of you guys seem to know a lot, and try to focus more on talking about Wake PA. So just give me a second. I'm going to share my screen. Also, my husband is upstairs putting our kids to bed. So if you hear faint screaming, don't be concerned. Okay. 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 All right. So you all probably know this, but this is just a definition of what PAs are, if you're not familiar. But essentially, PAs collaborate with physicians as part of a healthcare team. There's a huge demand currently for PAs because they allow more patients to be seen in a practice, and they provide ultimately savings for the patient, the practice, and the insurance company. And just like doctors, PAs are licensed and must maintain their education and take board exams to continue practicing. So PAs generally do everything that a physician does or a nurse practitioner does, with some exceptions. They don't lead surgeries or administer surgical anesthesia, and they may rarely deliver babies in some settings, but PAs work in emergency departments, urgent cares, hospitals, clinics, nursing homes, anywhere where healthcare is needed. So if you are thinking about the difference between whether you want to be a PA or a physician or a nurse practitioner, here's just a really quick overview of what the differences are. So the education requirement for a PA is a 4-year undergraduate degree, which can be in any discipline, as long as you complete the requirements for entrance into a PA program. And most programs are around 2 years. And then upon graduation, you're ready to start practicing in the specialty of your choice, which is really what makes PAs special compared to physicians and nurse practitioners. Some PAs do choose to do a residency, but it's not required. And we have lots of flexibility where if you get a job in the emergency department, but then a few years later, you decide you want to work in family practice, or you want to work in dermatology or anywhere, you are able to have some mobility, which physicians and even some nurse practitioners are not able to have. So obviously doctors have the most extensive amount of training within their specialty, but PAs are trained more as generalists and then can get more training as they begin working in their specialty. So if you're interested in applying to PA school, here are some of the basic requirements. Your priority is going to be academics, of course. And GPA is one of the harder things to repair if it slips, but PA schools want to see that you can handle difficult courses and that your grades, even if you have like a rough semester, that you're able to improve and get better. Each school has their own set of specified prerequisite courses. Most schools require the GRE, some schools don't require it, and some schools are moving towards requiring the PCAT or the PACAT. Patient care experience is a big thing, and it was nice to hear that some of y'all are already working to get those hours, which is awesome. PA shadowing experience is important, as well as shadowing other healthcare providers as well. And then some of the extras are things like volunteering, leadership positions, and research. So for Wake Forest specifically, here are some of the requirements for admission. You need at least 1,000 hours of patient care experience, but there are people in our class that have, tens of thousands of hours because they've had entire careers in healthcare before PA school, but obviously that's not required. There's no minimum GPA. And because of COVID, they are accepting pass-fail grades for any prerequisite courses taken during the spring and summer of 2020. And if that option is available, it's better to take a graded option than a pass-fail option. But because of COVID, there is a little bit of wiggle room in those cases. You need 3 letters of recommendation, preferably, at least one from a healthcare provider. And they do require the GRE and the Casper test, which is a pretty unique sort of behavioral type test that you can't study for. It's not really pass or fail, but it's just to get to know you as a person and kind of think about how you might work through some of the challenging situations that could arise if you're working in healthcare. And then there's extra things that they consider, leadership experiences, volunteering, whether that's in healthcare or out of healthcare, diversity of life experiences, and military service. So we will definitely talk more about this, and we definitely want to hear any questions you have about what makes Wake PA special. The big thing is our curriculum is based on inquiry learning. So for example, right now we are in our women's health section, and we meet 3 times a week in a small group, and we have a patient that is presented to us. And as we progress through the week, we get to know more information about this patient. We run tests on them. We ask them history questions. And this is our basis for studying women's health. So we do research on our own about what could this patient have? How can we treat it? What else should we be thinking about? What are like the social aspects of this patient's care that we need to consider? And it's really nice because we don't have to sit in lecture every day from 8 to 5. We get to do a lot of learning on our own, and I think that really helps it stick. Another thing that's really great about going to Wake is we have the opportunity to do rotations in the Baptist Health Network. Wake Forest Baptist is a major hospital in the area with really amazing specialists. So you have a lot of opportunities to network and build relationships with people within Baptist, which is really helpful for if you're interested in maybe a unique specialty, or you're looking to work within the Baptist network. It's really cool. We also have dual campuses. I think everyone on this call is at the Winston-Salem campus, but we do also have a smaller campus in Boone on Appalachian State's campus, which is a really cool opportunity, especially if you're interested in rural medicine. And we also have a program called Emerging Leaders. I'm not sure if there's anyone on this call that did Emerging Leaders, but you have the opportunity, if you want to, take a year before PA school and get a business degree or a degree in like healthcare law, which is really cool. If you do end up applying to Wake, you'll definitely get more information about those programs. But essentially, you would be graduating with 2 masters instead of just your Master's of Medical Science, which is the PA degree that we get. This is probably, a really common question that pre-PA students have, but your best patient care job is really going to be the job that you are qualified to do, that you can live off of, and that the hours are accepted by the schools that you want to apply to. So there's really no one answer, but definitely schools like any job where you're able to directly engage with patients and even have some sort of like decision-making capacity. But even something like a scribe or a translator allows you to have patient interaction, even though you're not directly providing care. And a lot of schools will accept that, but this is school dependent. I know Wake does accept scribe and I believe translator hours. So that's something to consider if you're thinking about applying for patient care jobs. All right, so the application process, this is a really, really simple overview, but this is just a general framework. The most important thing is to stay on top of your deadlines and requirements for schools that you're applying to. I had a really huge spreadsheet where I tracked all of this, and I still made mistakes and missed things because it is complicated. Your personal statement is really important because it's your chance to tell programs why you're going to be an awesome PA and what unique perspective you will bring to their program. And you really need a great personal statement to get interview invites. PA schools use a system called CASPA. It's kind of like the Common App, if you remember that from applying to undergrad, but it's a centralized application program. You'll have to get your letters of recommendation, stay on top of your deadlines and submit your materials, and then wait for interviews, which can be the hardest part and the longest part of this process. So PA school is definitely competitive. It's not crazy for schools to have an acceptance rate of 1% to 2%, and many people apply to PA school multiple times. So a lot of people will, it's not a great idea to apply to only 1 or 2 schools. So apply to schools that you're interested in and that you meet the requirements of. And even if you're like bound by family or, housing, things like that, it's still best to try to apply to as many schools as you can. Not necessarily like 30 schools because there's like a balance, right? You want to give yourself the best chance, but if you're not ready to be accepted to PA school, applying to 50 schools is probably just going to be a waste of money. So you want to wait till your application is ready. And you also want to give yourself the best chance possible. I think it's important to remember that people apply more than once. A lot of times, my classmates are not all 22-year-olds. I would say most of us, probably 99% of us, worked in between graduating college and starting PA school. Some people worked for a year or 2. Other people were working for 10, 15 years. So be prepared to take a gap year to get more patient care experience and make your application stand out. Here is just a list of pre-PA resources, which you may or may not be familiar with, that I found helpful and that I know a lot of other people used during their pre-PA journey. I really liked the Pre-PA Club podcast, and I read a ton of just information before I applied to PA school. And you can find tons of like people on Instagram who will give you tips and things like that. This is a conference that has already happened, so ignore this. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing and let Lexi moderate our questions and our discussion time. But yeah, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat or feel free to come off mute and ask those.
Thank you so much for sharing, Victoria. For Wake students, if you guys want to unmute and say like where you went to school for undergrad, when, and what you did in between school and grad school, or what you did for your clinical hours, and if there's anything else you want to share, just to introduce yourself a little bit better. So like I said, my name's Lexi. I went to NC State. I graduated in 2019 and then started PA school in 2020, which is pretty unusual for Wake, but it worked out for me. So that was really nice. I worked while I was in school, like 30 to 40 hours a week. So that really helped with my application. So I worked as an EMT. I worked at an optometry clinic in Cary, and then I did research at Duke, like clinical research. And then after school, I worked at an urgent care, and then as a scribe at a peds clinic, which was fantastic. And that's a lot of things, and most people don't look like that. But that was my journey. In no particular order. Sorry, guys, I should have sent like a random list generator. Just feel free to unmute yourself and tell about a little bit about yourself.
I can just talk since I've been talking so much, but my name is Victoria. I went to Wake and I graduated in 2014. So I did have a bit of time before starting PA school. And during that time, I did Teach for America. So I taught elementary school in Washington State for a few years, and then I worked on staff at Teach for America. And then for my patient care experience, I worked as a scribe in an oncology clinic, and then as a medical assistant at a free clinic.
I could go next. Hi, everyone. I'm Savannah. I graduated from Duke back in 2018. So I kind of took 2 gap years, and I worked in the Duke emergency department as a tech for a little bit less than 2 years, and really enjoyed that. I'm blanking on the other questions, but I'm here for whatever questions that you have for me.
Well, I am Brooke Jones. I also went to NC State, so go Pack, shameless plug. I graduated in 2018, so like Savannah, I took a couple of years off. I worked briefly at Wake Med as a nursing assistant in one of the observation units, but I got most of my clinical hours as a medical assistant in an orthopedic office. I too am blanking on the questions, but feel free to ask whatever comes to mind. Good to be with you guys tonight.
So my name's Michelle. I'm from Denver, Colorado, and I know it's super far from Winston, so it's a little bit more unusual because I feel like most of our classes from North Carolina or like maybe like the South, like Florida. But I graduated in 2018 as well from CU Denver, and I also took a couple years off, and I enjoyed them so much. Like they were truly priceless. Like just getting my hours, getting experience, getting money, enjoying my 20s, like truly priceless. And I was a phlebotomist, and then I ended up being a medical assistant in a cardiology office where they certified me. And then I was a medical assistant in a dermatology office. Yeah, I'm happy to be here with you guys. I feel like what you're going through is really, really hard. Like I was getting anxiety just from listening to your presentation. I was like, that was so much work. Like CASPA was crazy. Like, it's hard. So just get through it and, move on to the next step. But keep doing what you're doing.
I'm Katie Levitt. I used to be an elementary school teacher, similar to Victoria. So I graduated from Davidson in 2012 and then taught for about 4 years. I actually got my master's in education at one point, and then I went back and became a medical scribe and worked in a free clinic and did that for about a period of 3 years while I was taking all my prerequisite classes on the side, and then got into Wake, and Wake has just been wonderful. And yeah, I know that all of you are in a little bit different situation than what I did, kind of second career change, since you all are already on your path and know what you want to do before you do another career. So that's great. But if anyone has any questions about the non-traditional student path, I can definitely answer those.
And I'm Kaitlyn. I am from Colorado as well. It was funny, Michelle and I didn't know each other until we came to school, but it's been so nice getting to know her. I graduated from University of Northern Colorado, so UNC, but in Colorado in 2017. It took me 3 cycles to get into PA school. So sometimes you just got to keep on trucking, get all those rejections and be like, no, this is what I want to do. I'm going to keep on going. So during that time, I was a scribe for almost 3 years in both the emergency room and in primary care clinics. And then I was an EMT that worked in the ED department for a year as well. So I'm so excited to be here to talk to you guys. I love this. You guys are like so much on top of it. My school didn't even have a pre-PA club. I didn't even really know that I wanted to be PA till like senior year. So I'm so excited to be here.
Okay, I think that's all of our Wake students. So if you guys have questions, you're welcome to unmute. We encourage that. Or if you want to add anything in the chat, we have been an online school as well, so we know exactly what your shoes are and it's easy to check out. But we're here for you. We're here to answer your questions, whether that's about Wake PA or just the process in general. We all went through it at least around a year ago is when we started, which is crazy that it's already been a full year, but we'll just wait for those.
I have a question. I was wondering what specialties do most students pick after going through the PA program at Wake Forest?
That is a really good question. I don't know if the PA program has ever disclosed the amount of percent where each person goes. I know primary care is where a lot of PAs do end up just because that's a lot of need for them. But what's really nice, especially about Wake Forest, is you get 2 elective rotations where some classes and schools only get 1. So I do feel like you get a chance to look into more specialties and kind of see if that's where you want to end up.
Thank you.
I have a question. Oh, sorry. Does someone else have one? Okay. I know that Wake is a school that focuses on basically a case study each week, or I don't really know how often you guys get one. And for those that don't know, PA schools typically have like 2 different ways of teaching. One is case studies, where it's like more student led. And then the other is kind of where, you sit in a lecture hall and you have your professors guide you. So my question is like, what made you choose Wake Forest? Because that's a very distinct learning style. So does anyone have anything that stood out to them?
Sure. So IBL was one of the major reasons I wanted to go to Wake, which is what our case study base is. So like Victoria kind of touched on in her presentation, we on Monday are presented with a patient. And so yesterday, it's only Tuesday, yesterday we were presented with a patient who had like lower abdominal pain, and we're in our women's health unit. And so in our group discussion, based on only what she said, we had to kind of form a list of things that could possibly be wrong with her, be causing her symptoms. And then basically, if we didn't know anything, it is what we call an LI, which is a learning issue. And then through the week, we need to like continuously build LIs and kind of get to the bottom of what's going on in our patient, as well as what other things could be going on if she presented a little bit differently. And that's a lot more like real life to me. I have never really, until senior year at state, I was never really great at teaching myself. And that is what I feel like undergrad really taught me, was how to do that. Just to be able to consult my own resources and yeah, making sure that I'm using reputable ones as well. And I think being able to do that and learning how to do it in a constructive environment where your friends and classmates are doing the same thing was really valuable, because when you're in a field in PA school, you get 2 years of education. I'm 100% not going to learn everything I need to learn in 2 years. However, I'm going to know what resources I can look at to help me learn more in the future so that I can treat my patients well, and then kind of explore what is going on a little bit better. So that was big for me. I also just can't sit in a lecture for 8 to 5 and then go home and study for the rest of the night. So I really enjoy, we do our cases, but we do have some lectures sprinkled in the week. So it's not like we're just a shot in the dark with what we're learning. In our IBL cases we do have a professor in there with us. So we do have somebody guiding. It's not like we're just in the middle of nowhere by ourselves. So that was really helpful. Would anyone else like to speak to this?
Yeah, I completely echo what Lexi said. Like it's a unique way of learning for sure. And I think a big reason that I wanted to go to Wake was because the PA that I worked for, like she went to a problem-based learning, so very, very similar base curriculum for PA school. And she just could not like praise it more. Like she loved it. She thought that it was so interesting. It's definitely like the way to learn, and it's the way to like remember things, like truly like going through it, finding it yourself, and really like integrating that like into your memory, and then getting revisited with it with a lecture. It just really reemphasizes like what you learned. So I really liked it. And yeah, I'm just not that person to like sit through a million lectures and just be like, okay, yeah, I get it. You know, I'm very visual. I'm very like, I need to do this to be able to get it. So that's why. And also sorry about my upstairs neighbor. They are quite annoying.
I was just going to add on too, it's such a collaborative thing with our classmates. And so not only like do we do research ourselves and come prepared to each session, but we get to hear what other people have to say. And it's like, oh yeah, I didn't even think of that. That's such a great perspective to be looking into. And that's exactly what you'll see in clinical practice, because the PA profession is so collaborative in itself. You kind of get that in a student way here at Wake as well. And that's one of my favorite things, because as you guys can see, my classmates are wonderful and they have such great ideas that you get to hear each session. And you don't always get that.
Brooke, that's a great point. And Brooke is actually in my IBL group this unit, and we had a really great session on Monday, because the great part about IBL is that we get to do a lot of role playing. So they give us, a lot of chances to talk to patients, both for just like routine procedures such as pelvic exams, but also having really difficult conversations when there's, you have to deliver hard news. So it's just a really great judgment-free environment, very safe, where you can practice how you will be talking to patients. So I really like that aspect of it too.
I was going to ask a question for our club members who are looking to apply this cycle. CASPA is opening soon, in just about 21 days. Do you guys have any like last minute tips or something that you remembered from your cycle, maybe like a mistake you made, or just anything to give to us, some extra info?
For me, I mean, the biggest thing is like you have to really stay on top of like deadlines and requirements, but I almost missed my deadlines because the physician that I work with that was going to write my letter of recommendation was like really scatterbrained, and like I had to like repeatedly ask him. I worked with him like nearly every day. So I would ask him like once a week. And it was getting like to the point where it was now like a month later than I wanted to submit my application. And it was really stressful to have to feel like I had everything down, but now I was waiting on him and I needed that piece before I could submit. So I would say ask like more than 3 people to write your letter and give them lots and lots of advance notice. Like tell them it's due like a month before you want to submit your application, just in case.
Can I ask how you finally got him to submit it?
He just was like one of those, he was like a scatterbrained professor type. So I just told him like, listen, I'm about to miss the deadline, please submit it. And then eventually he did, thankfully.
The pieces of advice that stick out to me, one, for personal statements, start early and start earlier than you think. I started maybe like months and months and months early, just because, you know, you don't want it to be rushed. You really want to take your time. You want to have people read over it. You want to edit it multiple times. I think I was like twice over the character count my first time. And I'm like, this is great. But I'm like over by 5,000 characters. So had to cut down a lot. And also with a personal statement, it's really great to have a theme because that's a really great way for your personal statement to stick out. You know, it's because a lot of people might have, you know, similar things or stories they share, but like if you have like a theme throughout that really kind of ties it together and you're really telling that story in a way that's going to be memorable to the committee, that will work really well in your favor. And one other big piece of advice. So you're going to have schools with supplemental essays where you're going to basically be copying and pasting because they're going to kind of ask some of the same questions sometimes. Make sure you double, triple, quadruple check that you do not have like a school's name that is not for the school you're applying to. Because I know it sounds silly, but when you are applying to a lot of schools and you're copying and pasting, it can really easily happen. And that's like an automatic rejection. So just make sure you're paying really close attention to details.
Yeah, I want to emphasize. Oh, sorry. Did someone else want to talk?
You're good, Lexi. And it was just me, of course.
Oh, Kaitlyn. I'll go really quick. I was just gonna say, I just wanted to emphasize the personal statement and how important that is to kind of just show who you are. My personal statement was about human trafficking because that was the reason that I was interested in the PA profession and like helping people and pursuing medicine. And so that's what I wrote about partly, but that was like kind of telling them my story a little bit more. So everybody's going to have a different story. Everybody's going to have encounters with people, encounters with patients, encounters with dogs. I don't know, something that really sticks out to them. And I'm sure if you go back in your mind, if you like close your eyes for just a second and think, what is an experience that I've had that really impacted me? Keep that in your mind, like write it down, write it in a note on your phone. It just, there's a reason it impacted you. So like unpack it a little bit and say, this really did kind of define my path to getting where I want to go to PA school. So that's why it's really important to me. During our last unit, I shared a story that I wrote on my application about an old lady or an elderly lady who had broke her hip. And it was the second time she'd broken a hip. And so she had just gotten it replaced and had to go to rehab. And unfortunately, rehab facilities aren't always great for care. Like just the people in them aren't always super nice. And that is such an injustice in the medical field. But she was like crying to me on the way because she was just like so nervous and anxious and depressed, like just sad about going back. And so that was something that was really impactful to me. And I shared that in our last IBL group. And our professor that facilitated our conversation was like, I read your application because I remember this story. So it just goes to show how much those stories impact you and impact others and really make you stick out. So that's all I had for there. Kaitlyn, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to reemphasize the personal statement. Don't be afraid to have people read it. I am a terrible writer. So my first application, I just kind of like once it over myself, maybe had my mom look at it, but no one else. By the end, I was giving it out to anyone to tear apart. So do not let that hold you back. The more eyes that can get on it, the more things that they'll throw in there. And then my second little piece of advice is make sure you really look at the requirements, the fine details. There's nothing worse than throwing in your application that $50 with it, and then you realize that they don't take scribe hours, or you realize that they needed a 4-hour anatomy class and you only have a 3-hour anatomy class. So just do whatever you can to stay organized and on top of it. But you guys are going to do so well. It's so exciting. It's stressful, but you are going to make it through.
I had one little bit to throw in there. Just that like don't do what I did and like freak out last minute and be like, oh crap, I'm not going to get in any of these schools. I haven't heard back. It's been like 4 months. Like, I'm just going to add all these schools on. Like, don't do that because it's a bad idea and it just is a waste of money. Like, just go with the schools that you wanted to apply to, keep it there. And then also just really, I would say closely follow up. Like, I know that they see a ton of applications, but maybe like 2 or 3 months after you submit, just send an email and be like, so I know I can't update my hours in CASPA, like, but I've been still working here. I've been learning this, like, this even tells me even more why I want to be a PA, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, just, really keep on them and be like, I still want to be a PA. Like, I still want to go here. So keep me in mind. And then I think that's why I got like an interview at certain places too, was because I like followed up and I kept bothering them and they were like, okay, we just got to give this girl an interview. So she'll just calm us down and stop bothering us. So.
To answer the question from the chat for the ER tech, and I'm sure Kaitlyn can speak to this also, because I think you were EMT, right? Okay, I was actually trained as a nursing assistant, but in North Carolina, you can also work as a tech with a NA license, but I think it's pretty much the same what you do for a tech. You are a nursing assistant, but they train you on the job to do specific ED things. So you'll do basic nursing assistant tasks like, helping to ambulate patients, help them go to the bathroom, get urine samples from them. But then you'll do cool things like do EKG. So you'll place all the leads on them to administer an EKG. Some of the more exciting specific ED things are in, doing chest compressions during codes. So when a patient is in cardiac arrest and, you have the whole team in there, the tech role is to provide those chest compressions. So that's, really great exposure into the world of healthcare. And then just some type of administrative tasks as well, putting things into patient's charts and answering phones. And so it's like a whole big, there's a lot of things that you do. So I really recommend it as a patient care experience because you get a good grasp of everything. But Kaitlyn, if you have more to say too, please.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. I never realized that a lot of the ER techs you see in the ER are EMTs. I thought, oh, EMTs, you're on the ambulance. And living in Denver, even though I'm a good driver, I'm like, if I'm driving the ambulance, I don't know if anyone's going to make it by the time we're there. So I was like, I just want to work within the emergency room. But yeah, I did a ton of IVs, drawing blood, urine samples, taking the patient to and from imaging, taking them upstairs, chest compressions, being a part of the trauma team. And what I really loved about working within the hospital is you get to kind of see, because out on the ambulance, you're the first person there. So you're in charge of stabilizing them. But then once you get to the hospital, that's kind of it. You don't really know what happened to the patient. But I got to see the PAs, the nurse practitioners, the doctors, actually their thought process and kind of what was going on. So that was really cool working there.
So with your guys's like case-based study schedule, what does like a typical day or even week look like for you guys since you're not traditionally in the classroom?
Yeah, that's a good question. We have IBL for 2 hours every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So that's typically in the morning, like 10 to noon. And then like on Mondays, we have lectures from a couple different classes typically. So Mondays are kind of busier, at least for me, than other days. And then you have labs as well, 2 different labs typically each week. One is like physical exam for patients, and another is like learning what tests to order for patients and like performing some tests. Like in lab, we did a urinalysis a couple weeks ago. So learning things like that and procedures like sterile gloving, and I think we did phlebotomy too one week. So labs, 2 different ones, 2 different times a week. And then on Friday, we have like, it's called wrap up literally. So it like summarizes our case from somebody that typically works in that field that we're looking into that week. So that's like our final lecture of the week typically. And sometimes we have a meeting, it's called Being a PA, which kind of gets more into communication skills and like different encounters you'll see in practice. So we had one today, but it's just kind of variable. I hope that made sense, but mostly IBL and then some lectures and labs scattered.
Yeah, what's really nice and something that I didn't realize is we have, I think it's like 6 core courses. And then each unit's just a different body system, which is kind of cool. So we have IBL, which Brooke talked about, CDS, which is our clinical diagnostic skills, learning all the labs, maybe what procedures you would need to do to get those labs. Then we have patient care, which is actually doing the hands-on, how do I perform this? How do I get my history? Pharmacology, which is just purely what it is, learning all the drugs. We just got an antibiotic, so you can probably see everyone's eyes like wide. We're like, what even is, like, what are we doing right now? And then we have being a PA, and then kind of towards the end, you do like a graduate project, but that comes up more towards the end. So it's kind of nice. The schedule stays pretty similar between each unit, but you have more time to yourself to study if you need, or nap, or just take care of yourself, which is super nice.
Yeah, studying with our curriculum especially, you have to put in a lot of work to keep up, because I mean, yeah, you want to be the best PA that you can be, so you really have to put in a lot of work. So like units early on, I would get up at 8 and I'd go to bed at 10, and the only time I'd take breaks was like, or I'd be studying by 8 and then go to bed at 10. And the only time I'd take breaks was like to eat or to drive to and from class. And that's not really sustainable, so I don't recommend that. I definitely had my like lovely burnout unit last unit, because it was just not something that your body and your brain is ready to handle, or anyone's for that matter. But you do, didactic year in PA school is like something you have never experienced before. People will tell you it is hard. Believe it's harder than you think. It's crazy, but you're all incredible. You're all here, and you're all gonna do great. You just got to get through it and be the best PA that you can be and learn the best that you can. And like Kaitlyn said, like take care of yourself and love yourself through it.
All right, well, I think that was a great note to end on. Thanks for a little motivational speech. So without further ado, we're going to have Caroline talk about little surprise that we had for you all at the end. But first, I wanted to say thank you very much to everyone who came from Wake Forest. It was great having you here. I definitely learned stuff, so I hope that everyone else in the club learned stuff as well. And again, thank you very much, Lexi, for reaching out. That was great. This worked out so well, and I appreciate all of you coming and spending your evening with us. All right.
Can I, if you guys have questions, Wake students, if you want to like throw your emails in the chat, and then we'll hop off before your surprise, whatever's going on. So that would be great. If you guys have any questions, we're here for you. But yeah, good luck.
Thank you. So yes, just to end off our meeting, we came up with a little surprise for everybody. So we did have everybody pay dues this year, and we didn't really have anything that we as a club needed to pay for. Like we usually have snacks at our meetings that we would put the dues for, but we didn't have anything. So we came up with this idea of doing a giveaway. So we're going to post all the details on our Instagram, but we're going to have 2 winners. We're going to be giving away a Litman stethoscope in like whatever color you want. So they have really pretty pink ones or blue, all black. And then the second winner will get a Figs gift card, and Figs is a really nice scrub brand. So we just came up with these items as things that any pre-PA students and nursing students that will use now, maybe when you're getting your patient care hours, or if you get into your nursing school and PA school, you'll use them then. So to enter To enter the giveaway, we're going to post all this on the Instagram. You must be a member of the club. You must have already paid your club dues. You must follow our Instagram account, and then we're going to have you like and comment on the picture. So just be looking out for that. Our Instagram is, let me check the hashtag for the.
Just typed it in the chat for you guys.
It's just ncsu.pa.nursing. So just follow us there and enter the giveaway. We're going to be announcing the winners on Sunday. We'll be emailing it out and then getting in contact with the 2 winners. Just to say thank you and give back to you all for having a great year with us. So thank you. And then if anybody has any other questions, we'll be hanging around. But other than that, you're free to go. Thanks, guys.
And the next officers will be announced in our upcoming email. So again, be on the lookout for that. And if you haven't voted already, go ahead and do so by tonight. And yeah, thank you all.
Thank you.